Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unlocking Opportunities with LinkedIn for Veterans. My name is Alan LaFranc. I will be your event host for the day. I'm an employer liaison at Agilic. My goal is to foster mutually beneficial relationships between candidates and employers. I personally have experience in the Canadian Armed Forces as a reservist for 11 years, so I put those skills to use to translate um, your skills and expertise to employers to make those matches. This is my co-host for the day, Kristen Ninneber. She will be providing French translation. Um, she is the quality business analyst with the Agilic Career Transition Services team. Yep.
Bonjour et bienvenue à notre webinaire Débloquer les opportunités avec LinkedIn pour les vétérans. Je m'appelle Kristen et je vais fournir les traductions pour la journée. Je suis une analyste de qualité des affaires avec Agilec depuis l'introduction du programme des services de réorientation professionnelle au port des anciens combattants Canada. Vous avez déjà rencontré Alain, un de nos liaisons d'emploi dans le programme. Son objectif est d'aider les anciens combattants, les militaires et leurs familles à trouver un emploi intéressant en établissant des relations mutuellement bénéfiques avec les employeurs afin de favoriser la réussite et le soutenir des individus. Il a servi dans le militaire pendant 11 années et il prend toute son expérience dans le militaire pour aider les candidats conservés dans notre programme.
If you require any sort of accessibility, there is an icon you'll notice at the top right-hand corner of your screen with a little person in it. If you click on that, we have a variety of different support options for you today with seizure safe, vision impaired, ADHD, cognitive disability, a screen reader, and more. If there's anything we can do to assist you in accessing this at all, please don't hesitate to let us know.
Si vous avez besoin des accommodations d'accessibilité, vous pouvez trouver un petit cercle avec une figure en bâton en haut à droite de chaque page du portail de l'événement. Vous pouvez aussi ajuster vos paramètres pour répondre à vos besoins.
You'll also notice that up in that top right-hand corner, there is another icon where you can toggle between French and English. Yeah.
Vous pouvez aussi modifier la langue du portail d'événement à l'aide de l'icône de langue située dans le coin supérieur droite à la page du portail de l'événement.
You'll also notice that below this window that you're watching now with us presenting, there is a place where you can go to download files in French with the relevant information.
Si vous voulez télécharger les documents, vous pouvez cliquer sur l'icône Files sur la page que vous êtes dessus à l'instant.
You'll also notice in that same section, there will be a form that you can fill out to submit any questions. We will be taking and collecting those questions, and if we have time permitting, we will have a Q&A period at the end. Otherwise, we will be answering your questions and re-uploading those answers to this event page.
Ci-dessous la présentation que vous regardez à la moment, vous trouverez une forme pour soumettre des questions-réponses. Temps permis, nous répondrons les questions vers la fin du webinaire. Pour toute question posée pendant le webinaire, nous fournirons un document avec toutes les questions-réponses et le téléchargerons à ce portail.
So we have a lot on for the day today. First, we're going to be hearing from Andrew Garsh from the Veterans Employment Unit. He works at Veterans Affairs, and he also runs the Hire a Veteran page on LinkedIn, so it'll be exciting to hear from him. After that, we will be hearing from Natasha Jones and Stephanie Isamura. They're going to be presenting on LinkedIn Learning, which will be a great opportunity to hear from the people at LinkedIn themselves about LinkedIn Learning and other facets at LinkedIn. Followed by that, we're going to have a 5-minute break just to stretch your legs. And then once we come back, we are going to be hearing from Agilic's own Jacqueline Smith-Jordan. She is the training and development lead, and she's going to be talking about how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. After that, again, if we have time, we will be hosting a question and answer period. And if there is no time, again, we will be uploading those answers to the event page in an accessible document for you.
Il y aura 3 présentations cependant à cet webinaire. En premier, Andrew Garsh, avec l'unité de l'emploi des vétérans avec les anciens combattants Canada, vont discuter la page LinkedIn Hire a Veteran, embaucher un vétéran, suivi par Natasha Jones, qui est directrice de compte à LinkedIn, et Stéphanie Osumura, gestionnaire principale de la réussite des clients, aussi de LinkedIn. Après la deuxième présentation, nous prendrons une pause de 5 minutes et finalement, nous inviterons Jacqueline Smith-Jordan, gestionnaire de la formation et du développement ici à Agilec, pour nous parler concernant comment de créer un profil LinkedIn.
Awesome. And I should also mention before we move on, it says at the bottom, this will be available after the event for 30 days for you to access and watch at your own leisure. So if for any reason you're pulled away, disconnected, don't panic. You will be able to get access to all this information.
Le webinaire d'aujourd'hui sera disponible pour vous pour 30 journées après le webinaire. So, si vous avez des besoins qui vous prennent hors du webinaire, vous pouvez retourner à n'importe quand pour accéder le recording.
Amazing. So I would like to welcome Andrew Garsh to the stage. Andrew, I look forward to hearing from you.
Bienvenue à notre premier présentateur, Andrew Garsh.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Can someone tell me if they can hear me okay? Just want to make sure that you guys can all hear.
Yes, we can hear you and see you.
Perfect. All right, okay, great. So everybody can hear me and see me, which is great. I can't really see or hear anybody right now, so just so you know, I'm speaking to basically a blank screen. Having some IT issues over here, but we'll do our best to make sure everything gets sorted out. So anyways, folks, it's great to be here today. I'm really happy to be able to speak to you about LinkedIn and the various reasons really for why I think it's a great tool and why I think that anybody who's transitioning from the Canadian Armed Forces and looking for employment on the civilian side should be using LinkedIn. So a bit of background for myself before I get started. So I'm a 12-year veteran of the Canadian Armed Forces. I was an engineer officer. I've been out of the forces for just over 10 years now, which is kind of surprising every time I think about that because it only feels like it's been a year or two. I was at 1CR and then I went to the engineer school and then I was at 4ESR. While I was at 4ESR, I ended up finding out that I was being medically released, which I was not happy with at the time. But as part of that whole transition was going on, I remember having a meeting with my CEO, and he said to me that one of the things I should do in order to get ready to get to join the civilian world was to get a LinkedIn profile. And I'd heard of LinkedIn before, so this is like back in 2013, all right? So I've heard of LinkedIn at that point in time, but I wasn't really looking to get on social media, like another social media thing at all. And I didn't understand why I should or the merits to it. Because to me, I was like, oh, there's all these job boards, whatever, all this stuff that's out there. I don't need to do it. But I'll be honest, LinkedIn, I found out afterwards, is really one of the best ways for you to be able to connect with employers who are looking to actually hire veterans, okay? A large part of what we veterans kind of have to face as we're getting out is we've got a huge network in the Canadian Armed Forces. We don't have a huge network outside of the forces. And a lot of employment opportunities arise from those personal connections, that network that you actually have. You might have applied for. I'm sure if you've been looking in the job market for a while, you've probably gone through the process where, you're applying, and everything seems good, and then you find out that there's an internal candidate, or there was someone else who got in. You end up maybe finding out that they knew someone who was on the inside, and that's how they end up getting the job. Well, a lot of getting those employment opportunities has to do with networking, okay? So that's why LinkedIn is fantastic, because you can grow your network from the military out to the civilian world. Once you start joining LinkedIn and you start looking at who's out there, and it'll feed you some other connections and people that you may know, and you can build those connections from there, okay? So what I want to do now is I want to show you the Hire Veteran LinkedIn group. So I started with Veterans Affairs Canada back in November of 2020. And one of my jobs was employer liaison, basically, in a nutshell. So in the first 2 weeks of being at VAC, I kind of realized that at that point in time, there wasn't a quick and efficient way for us to be able to take employers who were looking for veterans and link them up with those veterans, right? There was no like seamless way. It was everything at that point in time would have to be funneled down to a certain stream, and it slowed down. So what we ended up doing is we ended up creating the Hire Veteran LinkedIn group, which I'm going to share with you guys right now. All right, so we've got the Hire Veteran LinkedIn group, and the whole idea behind it was to have it be an area where VAC could help veterans connect with employers, right? So we're just really here facilitating the connection. We're not trying to get in the way and impinging upon that whatsoever. So you'll see here we've got over 4,800 members in the group. Okay, this started back in a little over 2 years ago, and so we've got a really good grouping of individuals who are members right there. So those are veterans themselves, and I'd say about 10 to 12% of the members that are listed there are actually representing companies as well. So rough calculation would be you got about like 480 to like 500 employers who are actually in the Hire Veteran LinkedIn group who want to hire veterans, which is fantastic, because being a veteran and not having the network that, you know, of a civilian who's been, you know, in the job industry for 20 years, this provides you a quick way to really get in there fast and start to actually network and connect with people who are the hiring managers or the talent acquisition folks for those companies. Okay, so think about 480 to about 500 employers are represented. Of those, let's say 500 employers, about half of those talent acquisition HR people are actually veterans also, which is fantastic. So it just gives you another leg up. Okay, so in this group, I'm going to throw this out there. If you're a veteran and you want to, you know, say like, this is me, this is my background, this is what I'm looking for, and post, you know, whatever kind of job opportunity you're looking for. We've had people actually go here and actually post a and actually post a position, post you know, what they're looking for, and we try to encourage employers that we know of. We'll tag them and get them to actually reach out to those individuals as well. Okay, I'm going to scroll through and show you some other stuff that's in here, right? So there's lots of different job opportunities that are posted in here. So there's tons and tons and tons of employers. Okay, so you can just scroll down through. You can search inside this group for different things. All right. The one thing that I really want to highlight is this pinned post. Okay, so this pinned post, it's going to stay there. It'll get refreshed every few months whenever we hold a webinar, because we hold you know, webinars basically twice a year, sometimes more. We'll record every single day of those webinars, and then we take a picture of the agenda and we post it up here. So you can see this is the agenda from the September webinar that we did. It's got every organization, so 50 organizations there, and you can figure out what day they presented. And if you go over here to the comments section, you can see that there's a hyperlink recording for every single day. All right, so that's just for the webinar that we ran in September. You click on the next picture, there's a Franco webinar, a French webinar that was run in September as well. The next picture, this is from April 3rd to 5th of 2023. All right, all the links they're all in here, going back all the way until March of 2022. Okay, so there's hundreds of webinar recordings that are in there. And every single one of those recordings is going to have the contact information for somebody from that company who's looking to hire veterans. Okay, the people that are in this LinkedIn group want to be contacted by veterans. All right, if somebody's posting job positions in here, or someone's done a webinar, it's because they want to speak to veterans. So I definitely encourage you, as someone who's leaving the Canadian Armed Forces and who's transitioning over, I know you don't want to start up another social media thing, okay? But what I can tell you is if you're seriously looking for employment, this is one of the best ways that you can do it. And when you're going through and you're creating your profile, take the time to fill it out. I know right away it's going to take a little bit of work to get it going, but it's worth it. Put the details in there, all right? Try to make it so that people can understand what it is that you did. And I know we're going to have other people on here today explaining what it is, you know, how to translate your skills and all that kind of stuff, and what to look for in a LinkedIn profile. But take the time to fill that out, okay? If you want to join the LinkedIn group, I'm sure the folks at Agilic can share the contact information with you, or you can just search. What I'll do is I'll go out here so you can see. So if I search hire, so what you want to do is you want to search hire a veteran / embaucher un vétéran, and you want the one with the Canada flag, okay? And then you'll be a pending member until I actually approve until I approve membership. So I can't tell you how important it is to take the time to join LinkedIn, join the Hire Veteran LinkedIn group, and start to develop those connections outside of the military, okay? Funnily enough, while I was even actually speaking to you, I had the individual who was my CEO back in 2013 who told me to join LinkedIn actually just wrote me because I tried to connect someone who was looking for employment via him as a connection. So if that's not kind of a funny little segue into and why connections work, it's because you really can't crack into this employment world without putting yourself out there and reaching out to people. All right. Everybody that's in these positions of talent acquisition, hiring managers, they want to fill those roles. All right. They want to be contacted. They're open to speaking to veterans. So please, I can't encourage you enough to actually get on LinkedIn, build a profile, and start connecting with individuals. Please join the Hire Veteran LinkedIn group. And yeah, thank you very much. So Alan, over to you. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Andrew, thank you so much for that. That was very informative. I definitely always appreciate the content that's on the Hire a Veteran LinkedIn page. And as he said, we're more than happy to share that information with you if you reach out. Andrew and myself and the rest of the Job Development Services team are in contact regularly. So if you have any questions that way too.
Merci beaucoup, Andrew. Toutes les informations que vous nous avez données sont vraiment appréciées. Notre équipe sont toujours en contact avec vous et on est vraiment intéressé à obtenir des emplois pour les anciens combattants. Merci encore une fois.
Amazing. So to continue on, if you would welcome Natasha Jones and Stephanie Isomura from LinkedIn. Natasha and Stephanie, please take it away.
Bienvenue Natasha Jones et Stephanie Isomura de LinkedIn.
Hello, thank you so much for having us today. Natasha and I work really closely together to support from a learning standpoint. So we're joining you from LinkedIn, but we do have that focus on LinkedIn Learning. So what we want to talk today about for you all is an introduction to LinkedIn Learning, what the benefits are for that. We're also going to explore relevant courses for skill enhancement. We'll touch on where you can find courses that are relevant for you as a veteran as you either plan to or hope to grow into more of a civilian space or even into student life. And then accessing resources for bridging those skills gaps in a civilian job market. So to lean into more of the introduction, what is LinkedIn Learning? LinkedIn Learning is a robust online learning platform built to provide the content needed to learn the most in-demand skills. So it's always going to be top of mind. It's always going to be the most relevant content. We take all of these things together and provide you with a customized, kind of personalized learning experience within your own learning account. To get a little deeper into what it is that we do have all of our content is made in-house, or I would say the majority of the content is made in-house. And we actually work with over, I think now 3,000 subject matter experts recruited from around the world for topics across our business, technology, and creative library. And we vet every instructor to ensure that they have credible and real world experience and that they deliver with clarity and conviction, so that when you are engaging with a course, you are not watching necessarily the most boring thing ever. So we're finding content out there and with subject matter experts that can really engage with the audience. It also allows us to partner with instructors and our teams to kind of align with our instructional producers, directors, designers, production members, and they deploy instructional design principles that focus on effective instruction, authentic connection, real world application. So we don't leverage actors, we are working with real experts out in the field. And that is across, again, those 3 different areas of the library: business, creative, and technology. And it is very broad and deep for everyone. So you're going to find not just maybe a technical skill or a software skill, but you're going to find those business skills: leadership and management, professional development, coaching, mentoring. There's also function specific skills. So if you're looking to grow into a role, we have project management, we have HR, recruiting, L&D, sales, customer service. There's a lot of different role specific pathways that you're able to take within LinkedIn Learning. Of course, this is not a comprehensive list. We'll talk a little bit about that too as we go into the platform in a moment, but there's also those technology skills too. So there's software development, data science, IT, cybersecurity, which are big these days. There's a huge opportunity to learning coding, which I'll show you as well. So lots to cover for exactly what it is that you're looking for and how we can personalize that to you. We'll talk about when we get into the platform as well. And then when it comes to learning, we like to meet learners where they are. So we offer courses in over 20 languages for global skills development. So we have 3 different ways that we do that. We have a native language libraries available in 7 languages. That's English, German, French, Spanish, Japanese, Chinese, and Brazilian Portuguese. So those are options within the library. You can select the languages that you prefer to speak in. We also have subtitled language library. So it's not necessarily audio from native language speakers, but it is dubbed. It is a localized user interface where you're able to see content in additional languages: Italian, Dutch, Polish, Turkish, Bahasa Indonesia, and Korean. And then lastly is a subtitles feature, which is a machine translated subtitles feature where any courses you can select to have those subtitles in your preferred language. And that offers additional languages: Arabic, Czech, Danish, Hindi, Malay, Norwegian, and more. So that list continues to grow as we develop those subtitle features. So we've got an offering there for you, quite a bit of languages available. And then I think lastly, and probably a more really exciting development for us, are professional certificates. So you are able to, through LinkedIn Learning, earn those professional certificates. I'll show you where to find them and what organizations we partner with, whether it comes to a professional certificate or a continuing education unit. If you're a part of an accredited program, we are authorized to provide those continuing education hours through the courses in our site, as well as any certification prep that you're hoping to take. And there are some academic credit. Now, realize those are more of a global offering. We'll take a look at where to find them, but keep your eye on that for the future if we're able to expand the academic credit there. So what I'll do now is I'm actually going to pop into my learning account so that you're able to see what this does look like. So this is when you log into LinkedIn Learning, your homepage, your learner homepage. We'll get acquainted with it just a little bit. You're able to search for content here at the top. We'll do that in just a moment, just so you're able to see what we're looking at today. On the left, you do have this really handy toolbar that will allow you to browse content. So if we click into this area, it's going to give us a lot of information, but we're able to pop into business, technology, and creative, depending what you're hoping to learn today. This is a great opportunity to search through content if you're not sure where you want to start, but you want to see what's available for you. What I think is really great as we're sort of browsing for content at this point is the role guides at the top of the page. Role guides are going to help you, let's say you're interested in a particular role. If I were to click on project manager, for example, this is going to take us into where I can get started, basically, what are the top courses for learning the skills that you would need to be in a role like this. It's going to give you a carousel at the top where you can browse through these to pick a course to start. It'll also allow you to choose from a difficulty for yourself. So if you know that this is the first that you're starting with project management, you can click beginner, you can go into intermediate or advanced depending on your personal level. You also have top project manager skills that you can then add to your LinkedIn profile if you are connected. There are quite a few benefits for having your LinkedIn profile associated to your learning account. It's going to inform a lot of the skills and courses that will populate on your homepage. We'll go back to that in a moment. But these are also skills that you can then add to your profile as you're beginning to learn them, and it'll show you what you have on there already if you do. So these are some skills that you can add directly to that. You can also follow the skills, which is again just going to make some content recommendations for you. And then you have additional learning paths. So a learning path is different from a course a little bit, and that it is quite a few courses put together to get you from point A to point B. So in this regard, you'll see getting started as a project manager is essentially going to be a jumpstart into learning the basic skills that you'll need to fall into that role. As you go down, there are communities of peers if you would like to join them on LinkedIn, and then any certifications below that that would be relevant for this role. So we're looking at IIBA for project management, Six Sigma certification, and of course PMI here as well, which you can then click into to find any additional courses that will apply for your continuing education units. And we'll pop into that in a little bit too, but you can access that from here. So the role guides are across all three different sections of the library. And now we have, I think these days, and Natasha, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we have over 21,000 courses in LinkedIn Learning for you across these three different topic areas. So you're going to find all of that information as well as any associated role guides and learning paths within each of those sections. You are also able to search for content. So, and I know in this regard, we would want to maybe transition from military. I know we have courses here for that. So military to student life or transition from military to civilian employment. There's a lot of really great courses within these two learning paths in particular. I'll make sure that you have the links to these later in the session, or perhaps I can provide these to the team to add to FeedLoop. But then looking in the learning paths, and we'll take a look at what these are like as well, you're able to find a collection of content that's going to be applicable to this particular topic. So as we go down, we're looking at LinkedIn for veterans in the military community. If you're looking to maximize your LinkedIn profile and how to best use the job features and things like that, you're going to find courses on finding purpose after active duty, defining and achieving professional goals, writing a resume, so on and so forth. So this is a really great collection for you if you're looking for a place to get started and to upskill as a veteran. So lots great in here. And then of course there's that student learning path as well, which you'll have after this. So I am also happy to cover how this connects to a profile if you're looking for the benefits of that. LinkedIn Learning is the largest skills-focused e-learning platform. We do have courses that help with creating a strong LinkedIn profile as well. So if you need any support on that, it is, I believe, called Rock Your Profile. I'm going to click into that one really quickly. If I search for this here, and I'll show you the video player just a little bit. So I'll pause this so that it doesn't play for us, but just to become acquainted with what this looks like, it's very similar to Netflix in that you have a pause play, you have skip back and skip forward, you can skip to previous videos, and you'll see too that our courses are not start to finish. They do have individual chapters made up of smaller bite-sized videos with the intention of allowing you to go in, and let's say you're in a moment where you just need to learn one thing from a course and you don't necessarily need to sit and watch this course, which I believe is about 45 minutes long. Oh, an hour and 22 minutes. You don't have the time for that. You just need to search for something quickly. The bite-sized video approach allows you to come in and learn a specific part of this course and then come back to it at a later time. So it's always going to save your spot. It's always going to save your progress up until this point. So you'll notice that all of these different videos you can then select to watch, or if you have the time, you can sit and complete the full video. So the overview beneath that will allow us to get some course details. If you're interested in following the instructor of this course, you can follow on LinkedIn. Anything that is related to this course is here as well. So learning groups are here as well as those certificates. And what's fantastic about the certificates, especially if you're connected to a profile, is that you'll then be able to share your certificate to your LinkedIn profile. So this is something that you can achieve at the end of a course, stating that you have completed this course, you've earned the skills for it, and your LinkedIn profile can then now reflect that that course was completed. So this is your video player. Below that, it just goes into learning objectives and any sort of related courses as well. So if you're interested in continuing learning from this page, you're able to directly from here. You'll just scroll down just a little bit. So I will open up this home side again for us, just to show us how to share your certificate to your profile. So below browse, you now have your learning history and your goals. You'll notice that on my homepage here, my goal is set to grow and advance in my current role, which is a customer success manager with LinkedIn. And at any time you can either add your goals or edit them here. You can also do that within your learning section. So that'll keep you on track. It'll allow you to set weekly time goals. You're able to check in on yourself this way. It's a really great accountability tool. And then from there too, it'll provide content recommendations for me based on what I've selected for my goal. So you'll see that on the homepage too, as it starts to recommend content for you. But I'm going to go ahead and click into my library here just to show us my course history. And that'll show us what we have in progress, saved, anything in my collections that I've added to kind of save and watch for later, as well as my learning history, which will show us what I've completed. So if I click into my learning history, and let's say I want to share the course that I had taken recently on being a good mentor, and I want to share this certificate to my LinkedIn profile, I can then come to these three dots, and I can either add to profile or download a certificate. Now it'll be important depending on how you set up your LinkedIn Learning account. So you may have this option to add the course directly to your LinkedIn profile from here, or you may have to download the certificate to go over your link and go over to your LinkedIn profile and upload manually, which is not a problem. It does just depend on how you have these set up. If they're not connected, then you won't be able to add directly from here. And you'll see it won't have the option to add directly to a profile. And if you ever needed to add it later, you absolutely can. But for now, I'm going to click on add to profile. And I have the option now. It'll have this link to my certificate. It'll pop up on my profile. I actually believe this one is already on my profile. But if you'd like, you can make sure that the associated skills are that come along with it are also added to your profile. If you care to also include a public post or maybe even just your connections or certain individuals that you've completed this course, you can also include that. But if you want to simply just add this to your profile, you can just deselect that option. It's not required to do a post for it. This is just a great way to be able to add that to your profile. And then I can just click on add to profile. So what that looks like, it'll tell you it's been added and you can view your profile. I am going to open mine up just to show you where you're able to find that. So this is my LinkedIn profile. I scroll down, it's going to live in my license and certification section. So now I have being a good mentor here on my LinkedIn profile for anybody looking or a recruiter looking at my profile to be able to see what courses I've taken on LinkedIn Learning. So as you add these course completions, the network, the recruiters, you see all types of people looking at your profile. They now are able to view that. So the skills that you're acquiring, this new information will help you become more visible in searches as people seek out individuals who have specific knowledge. So adding these to your profile, one, allows people to see that you're upskilling, you're growing, and you're developing in these areas, but it also allows the people that are looking for you to find you when they're looking for candidates for a role. Okay.
So it looks
Perfect.
like, if you have a moment, it looks like we have a question that came in. So the question is, would it be possible for LinkedIn to make it so users can add their prefixes and suffixes separate from their name in their profile? I'm not sure if they're referring to like adding like doctor or like MA as far as their like their education. I'm not 100% sure.
You know, that is a great question, and I'm not sure either, but I can imagine that you would be able to put it in your name. I know I've seen it before. So maybe this is a question, Natasha, that we take back and find out if it's something that's separate or if it truly is suffixes, prefixes that you can add when you edit your name in your profile.
Right.
So what I mean by that,
I was going
Go
to say
ahead.
I have a master's degree, so I have mine attached to my last name on my profile. So if you look at my profile, it says Natasha Jones, comma, M.A. So I'm not 100% sure if that's what they're asking, but for me, what I've done is added it to attach it to my last name on our profile.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. So I've clicked that icon here on my profile as I'm looking at it. Oh no, I clicked it too many times. There we go. So if I come back to my pencil icon, this should show me my basic info where I should be able to put in my first name line or last name line a prefix like that. However, if there's something else that we should know about in regards to those particular pieces for your identity, then we can look into that on our side and let you know. That is a great question. I hadn't thought about that. Okay, so I will go back to learning for us really quickly. So that's where you would find that on your LinkedIn profile. I know I've got quite a few things here too to look at. The last couple of things that I do want to talk about, especially as we're looking at common and in-demand kind of skills to learn right now. One is coding, and right now we do have hands-on coding courses where you're able to get real-time feedback in those courses. So as you're learning alongside the instructor, there is essentially like a sandbox where you can do some of the work alongside the instructor and then be able to get that real-time feedback. So it's like working directly with somebody, which is fantastic. So that'll be here on the left side as well. So that hands-on practice is here. There's also that certification section. So if you are hoping to focus on some certifications right from the get-go, the certifications live here, and it'll break it down for you by those professional certificates. So this list is continuing to grow. I think just a few weeks ago, Natasha, this was like 6, and I think there's way more than that now, and we can open that up in a moment, but it's essentially where you can earn additional certificates on various topics, which we can look at. There's also the certification prep. So we do work with these organizations or these certification programs to provide the preparation for that exam. So those are all listed here as well as the continuing education units, which we talked about. So if you are working towards project management or you are credited through the PMI Institute, now you're able to use LinkedIn Learning courses to continue your education, and those hours apply towards what is required for the program. Same with what we have listed here as well. And then the academic credits are here at the bottom, and it'll tell you where they're from and where they apply as well. So I do want to pop up to the top really quickly and just go into professional certificates just to show you what this is looking like. This is how many we have now. Yes, it's significantly more than I thought, but we do have, looking at AHA, or they're just typical platforms that we would work with for different roles, or let's say customer service or IET, where there's different programs that we help with a professional certificate on. So if I were to look at GitHub, for example, Career Essentials in GitHub is here, and you'll see that when you do achieve that certificate, it is then provided by GitHub and LinkedIn Learning. So that'll tell you where they're from. We can look at ServiceNow, for example. I think we have quite a few in Microsoft, which makes a lot of sense. If we're looking at Microsoft, generative AI is a big topic these days, cybersecurity, data analysis. So these are fantastic opportunities to go in and take some of these courses in order to get certified in various areas. And those certifications can also be added to your LinkedIn profile. So I want to be sure before I wrap up, I'm not sure how I'm doing on time here, that I share with you just those learning pathways that we were talking about. So I'll make sure that you have the links for those. Some way or another, you have the LinkedIn for Veterans and Military Community course, but then there's also those 2 learning pathways, the transition from military to civilian employment and the transition from military to student life. So I know we may be holding questions towards the end, and Natasha, thank you so much for looking at that for us. Did we have anything else that we wanted to look at before we hand it off?
I don't think so. And I don't see any other questions that have come in as of yet. But please feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn if you do have any further questions.
Perfect. I think we can hand it right on back to Alan.
Hi, Stephanie and Natasha. Thank you so much. That was awesome. Awesome. Yeah, and I also just wanted to add on to that. When you go through career transition services through VAC and then with us at Agilic, you are able to get access to LinkedIn Learning through us. It is a feature that you're able to access through your employment coach.
Merci beaucoup, Stéphanie et Natacha. Avant qu'on prenne notre pause, on veut juste vous laisser savoir, si vous voulez avoir l'accès à LinkedIn Learning, vous pouvez l'accéder au part de nous. Si vous prenez part de la programme de service de réorientation professionnelle, on peut vous donner l'accès à LinkedIn Learning sans frais. Vous pouvez connecter avec votre conseiller d'emploi pour plus d'infos.
Amazing. So we're going to have a 5-minute break now before Jacqueline Smith-Jordan joins us. I will come back on and convene in 5 minutes. I have the time as 1:42, so just 5 minutes from then, guys. All right, see you soon.
Nous allons prendre notre pause de 5 minutes. Nous reviendrons vers 13h47. Merci beaucoup.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are going to be jumping into our next session with Jacqueline from Agilic. Jacqueline, welcome, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Merci de revenir. Nous allons commencer notre dernière session avec Jacqueline Smith-Jordan. Merci beaucoup.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Smith-Jordan. I'm a training and development lead here at Agilic. Super excited to be joining all of you this afternoon. So I do internal staff training, but I also do external client training. One of my favorite trainings to do is LinkedIn. I really want to re-emphasize what Andrew said earlier about the power of this platform. It certainly can be used for job search and career maintenance, as we're going to see the importance of kind of setting up and optimizing your profile as you are transitioning into the civilian labor market. But it is a really powerful tool for networking. I have used it personally and professionally. In 2016, I was working at an organization, and early in the year of 2016, the company literally shut down overnight. So I got a call from our then VP who said, "Can you please call your staff and tell them not to come to work on Monday?" This was Saturday evening. I was amazed at the number of people who reached out to me on LinkedIn. So my connections who had heard about it because it was quite public, it was in the news, and offered to tell me about open job opportunities at their companies, or said, "Hey, look at my LinkedIn profile, look at my connections. Is there anyone there that you would like me to connect you to? What can we do to help?" So networking is really a key way for you to be finding out about different job opportunities as you are transitioning. Just to give you a little bit of a sense of what I'm going to do with you this afternoon, I'm going to take you through a LinkedIn presentation, some slides to explain to you some best ways to maximize your profile, the different fields in your profile and on the platform that are going to be important for you to focus in on. And then I'm going to spend the second part of my time with you actually going onto the live platform and walking through so you can see how some of that actually plays out live. So I'm going to share my screen. And Ellen, maybe you can just let me know if you can see the Agilic slide there.
Absolutely. I can see it. You're good to go.
Awesome. Okay. So we're talking about unlocking opportunities with LinkedIn. Today, I am going to talk to you about how to create a compelling LinkedIn profile. So which are some of those fields that you want to make sure that you have completed and you are optimizing for your job search and career maintenance, how to build your network and make connections, and then how to use LinkedIn for your job search. LinkedIn is a directory of professionals and companies, as we've heard from our other speakers today. In August 2023, LinkedIn reached 930 million registered users. So it's a great platform for you to be using for connecting and networking with other professionals, not only in your own geographic area, but worldwide. As we've heard from Stephanie and Natasha, it's a great way for you to learn about different industries and skills, so upskilling or reskilling, and really getting a sense of what civilian employers are looking for. And again, a little bit later, I'm going to take you to the job search portal so you can get a sense of what that actually looks like. So you want to be considering the use of LinkedIn for networking, for learning and upskilling, definitely for job searching, and then boosting your career beyond that. Recruiting via social media is growing. 87% of employers are using social media to find and screen their candidates. 70% of hiring managers say that they have successfully hired using social media, and 9 in 10 recruiters say that they actively use LinkedIn to search for talent. And we heard one of our speakers talking about that earlier, that recruiters and employers are going on to the LinkedIn platform to source candidates for their for open job opportunities, whether those opportunities are posted online or not. And some recruiters, once they get applications and they've narrowed down the field of candidates that they're interested in meeting with for an interview, will then go onto social media. LinkedIn is one of the top platforms that they'll go to see what people have posted about themselves, what their professional brand is, and whether that lines up with the claims that were made in that person's application. So why is LinkedIn considered the best site for job seekers? Well, there's lots of different activity happening on the site. 3 people are hired on LinkedIn every single minute, and 55 job applications are submitted each second to LinkedIn. So using this social media tool really should be part of your job search strategy. Many candidates are frequently getting hired there using the platform. Lots of jobs are being posted there by a variety of employers and recruiters. So we're going to look at how you can start creating a compelling profile for yourself if you don't already have a profile, or if you do already have a profile, what can you be doing to maximize that profile really well? And here are some of the keys to get recruiters and employers to notice you on LinkedIn. You want to make sure that you're creating a profile that covers each of these particular points. So the first one is that your profile should be keyword optimized. And keyword optimization means using either industry terms, key skills that you see in job postings, maybe that comes from some of your research, definitely from networking with employers or recruiters within the industry, the type of jobs that you are currently interested in. And you want to make sure in different areas of your profile, and we'll look at some of those areas a little bit later, that you're using some of these keywords that civilian employers may be looking for. And Stephanie and Natasha talked earlier about different categories of skills that employers are looking for. So there could be those hard skills, or what could be considered technical skills. And then there are another category that would be called human skills or soft skills. So those could be things like leadership, management, problem solving, critical thinking. Where you have those skills, you want to ensure that you're using those keywords throughout your profile so that employers and recruiters know that you have the skills and competencies that they are looking for. You want to make sure that you are specific when you are writing the profile, that you are specifying the skills that you have, the experiences that you have. You want to be able to translate some of those skills over to transferable skills or transferable experiences, and you want to show value. One of the key trends right now in the labor market is being able to demonstrate as a job seeker or a candidate who sent in a job application what the value is that you have to offer to that particular employer that you've applied to. One of the ways that you can do that is to include accomplishments. Obviously, you're going to outline some of the tasks and responsibilities that you had as a military veteran, but you want to be able to explain or paint a mental picture for the employer about what the outcome was of your use of those skills. So what were you able to achieve or accomplish, so that the employer gets a sense of how you could help them, what the value is that you could bring to their particular workplace. And Andrew talked about this earlier. There are a number of different fields in that profile. So you want to make sure that you're creating a profile that is complete. So filling in as many of those sections as possible, and then keeping your profile up to date regularly. So if you're going on to LinkedIn Learning, as Stephanie and Natasha suggested, and you get a micro-credential or a certificate, you want to make sure that you're updating your profile with that new skill or certification, so that any employer or any recruiter looking at your profile knows what your up-to-date skills are. The next thing you want to do is ensure that you have a photo as part of your LinkedIn profile. And I had the great opportunity to actually go to the LinkedIn offices in Toronto a while back, and they recommend that having your profile picture means that you are 11 times more likely to be viewed than if there is no picture attached to your profile. And if you don't add a picture, there's a little green and white blob that just gets put into that little space. And I always say nobody wants to be a little green and white blob. So you want to get a professional looking photo, preferably a headshot. And we see some great examples on the screen here of what that could look like. And your photo doesn't need to be taken by a professional photographer, but it definitely should look presentable, and it should be a current image of you. You can see my photo that I have on LinkedIn. I use that photo if I'm going to be speaking at conferences or submitting articles. And my husband took that at a hockey rink close to where we live in Oshawa, Ontario. So I certainly didn't pay anyone for it. I get lots of positive comments on it. So you just want to make sure that it's a headshot and people get a sense of who they are communicating with or who it is who sent in that application for that job. So when you go onto the LinkedIn profile home screen, you're going to see something that looks like this. You're going to have your picture, and you have the opportunity behind your picture to include a background or what's called a banner image. And this can help you stand out because you can customize this. So in different areas of your profile, you're going to see a little pencil icon on the top right hand side, and when you select that pencil icon, it allows you to edit that particular area of your profile. So that background image is also something that you can edit. I've seen people use pictures that are representative maybe of their personality or who they are. People know that I love nature and the outdoors, so I've used that. But I've had people or clients use something that is representative of the industry that they are in or that they are looking to get into. I've seen people use words that are representative of their skills or what their professional brand is. So you get to choose what goes there behind your picture. And then underneath your name, you have what's called a headline. This is about 220 characters. It allows you to be super creative if you'd like to be. And this is a great place, again, for you to use those keywords. This could be a job title that you want to be known for, or that is your job search goal. It could be a set of skills that you feel really help you to stand out in the labor market. So you see, I have some certifications under mine. In my headline, I've written that I'm a career development practitioner, a training facilitator, and work-life strategist. So using keywords that represent the type of work that I do. And so if I was job searching tomorrow and a recruiter or employer was looking for someone with those particular skills, I would come up in that search. Another option that you have available to you is what's called the Open to Work feature or banner. So we see an example of this here. Underneath your name, you can add that you are actually open to work. This is going to signal to recruiters and employers that you are open to new job opportunities. And you're able to set preferences for who actually sees that, whether you want to share that privately with maybe just your direct connections, or you want everyone in the broader LinkedIn community to know that you are open to a variety of different job opportunities. So underneath your heading and this basic information you've written about yourself, you're going to have two sections. They're called the About section and the Experience section. And again, this is a great place for you to highlight some of your military experience and some of the transferable skills that may come from that experience. So in the About section, you're going to write an overview of your career, who you are as a professional. Again, you can highlight some of the key skills that really stand out, what makes you different from other candidates that are looking for the types of jobs that you may be looking for, and what is the value that you have to offer to an employer or recruiter for them to consider you for their open job opportunity. And then underneath your About section is your experience. So very similar to what you would have on a resume, you're going to give an overview of some of your previous work history activity or work experiences. It doesn't need to be as detailed as what you would have on a resume. You certainly want to mention the role and responsibilities. And again, if you have a great achievement that you're proud of, an outcome that you accomplished, then you want to list that in that experience section. Civilian employers nowadays want to get a sense of what you did before, but they also want to know what you can do for them. So what are some of the outcomes and achievements they should expect from you if they consider hiring you into their workplace? So these, again, are two great places for you to be putting in those industry keywords, phrases that perhaps you've seen in some of the job postings that you're interested in. Maybe that's come from some of the research into the types of jobs that you're now considering, or when you're speaking to people, networking, getting a sense of some of the skills and value that employers are looking for. And you can start putting those words into your about and experience sections. Underneath that area in your profile, you have a skills section. And here is where you get to choose which of those skills that you have that you really want to highlight on your profile. You can go in and choose the particular skills, and we'll see this again later when we go on to the platform. And then your connections, so the people that are connected to you on the platform, can go in and actually endorse you for those skills. They're essentially saying, yes, I know that this person possesses this particular skill. I've seen them use it. I hired them to do it. I worked with them when they use this skill. And again, recruiters and employers are looking at this section of your profile to see which skills have you highlighted and are other people endorsing you for them. One of the areas that I love on the profile is called recommendations. Recommendations can give you credibility on LinkedIn because they act as social proof. They show other people actually respect the work that you've done. So to get a recommendation on your profile, you are going to send a recommendation request to someone else on the platform. So it has to be an individual who already has a LinkedIn profile. Perhaps this person did a military project with you, or they were engaged in a professional way with you, and you can ask them to write a recommendation. You maybe want to give them a sense of what that project was to refresh their memory, or is there a particular set of skills that you really want them to highlight in their recommendation. They get to then write that recommendation. It's going to come back to you in email, so you get to see it first and decide whether or not you want to post it as it appears on your profile. This is like an instant reference letter from someone who has worked with you. So anyone looking at your profile, that could be a potential employer, it could be a recruiter. They can go in and look at these recommendations at the bottom part of your LinkedIn profile and get a sense of how you perform on the job, what other people are saying it's like to actually work with you before they call you in for that interview. This is an awesome marketing tool for you when you are job searching. So you have started maximizing the different fields in that profile to make sure that you're optimizing them well. They are presenting your best professional brand, and you want to make sure that you are building your network. Building your network can mean connecting with friends or former coworkers or unit members, or maybe classmates that you were in a course with, and people that you know. You can also connect on the site with people that you don't know. So I have connected with many people on LinkedIn who either I have never met in person, but maybe we were on a webinar together, or took an online course together, or I saw that we had a number of similar mutual connections. And strategically, when I looked at what that person does in comparison to what I do, it made sense for me to connect with them. So think about that whenever you have a positive interaction with someone who you think you would want to stay in touch with, you can send that person a LinkedIn request. We suggest if you're going to do that, that you send them a message to remind them how you met and perhaps why you want to connect, especially if you actually haven't met that person. So you'll see an example on the screen here from someone who actually works in our Veteran Affairs Canada department and program here at Agilic. So her name is Kelsey, and you see beside her name, it says second. Whenever you're looking someone up on the platform, you're going to see a number behind their name. If it says first, it means that you're already directly connected to this person. Either you sent them a connection request and they accepted it, or vice versa. Second means that you are 2 degrees of separation with that person. So in this case, you can see that Kelsey and I have quite a number of mutual connections. I would want to click that blue connect button underneath Kelsey's name, and it gives me the option to send off a connection request and to add a note. So again, we suggest if you haven't met the person in person, or maybe it's been a little while since you were connected with them, just send them a quick note. You can see I wrote, "Hey Kelsey, it was great meeting you at the LinkedIn event for veterans. I'd like to stay in touch so that we can collaborate on some projects in the future." The purpose of building your network on LinkedIn is to connect with like-minded professionals. Andrew talked about some of the ways that you can do that. And also you can connect with employers and recruiters and people in a similar industry that you're interested in getting into, or a new industry where you don't already have connections, but it's an industry that's of interest to you and you really want to start building up your network in that particular area. So you can really develop some solid relationships with people this way. It's a great way for you to start getting your name out in that particular industry. And once you are maintaining those connections, for people to recommend you for jobs when they become available. One of the other ways that you can connect with people is to just share some of your comments or your own expertise. And there's a variety of different ways that you could do that. So in this case, this example, you see that I read a article. This was during COVID. It was about work-life wellness, as many people were trying to adapt to working from home. I thought the article was super informative, so I posted it and shared it with others. And people have the opportunity to use one of those emojis that you see in the middle of your screen. Maybe they like that thing that you posted, or perhaps you posted about that new skill or certificate that you just finished on LinkedIn Learning, so people can celebrate that. Perhaps you're asking for support for something and people can support that, or what you wrote was just funny, or it's something they love, or something they found super insightful, or that they're curious about and maybe want to have further conversation with you about, or you're curious about something that someone else has posted. So sharing articles, making some of these social gestures on other people's posts is a great way for you to start getting to know people online and exposing yourself to other social networks and then building up your connections. Think about where you already have expertise. So maybe you see a question posted on a group that you're a member of. Andrew talked about the veterans group earlier, and you can share your comment and share your expertise as it relates to that post. So post and answer. It's going to show that you have knowledge, that you have experience. You don't know who else is in that group, and seeing the information that you're sharing. You want to make sure that when you're commenting, you're doing that in a professional way. Think about the fact that this is part of your reputation and your professional brand, and how you want potential employers and recruiters to see you. So we recommend that you keep those likes and comments as neutral as you possibly can. So you have started optimizing your profile by filling in a variety of these different sections that we talked about. You've started building up your network and list of connections, and now you want to start job searching on the platform. So again, a little bit later, I'm going to take you on to the live platform so you can see this. You can search by a variety of different keywords. So maybe you're looking for a specific job title. Maybe you don't know some of the jobs that maybe would utilize some of the skills that you have, and so you could search by skill. And there's a variety of other search criteria as well. Maybe you're looking for jobs in a particular geographic area or with a particular salary range. So very similar to some online job banks, it allows you the opportunity to really hone in on your search criteria. And then you can set that as a job alert for future. You can also go in and do some skills assessments if you're not really sure, and there's lots of other resources there to help you with your job search. LinkedIn is fairly intuitive. So once you have started completing that profile and maximizing all those different areas that I talked about earlier, once you go to the job search section of LinkedIn, it's going to start making suggestions for you based on what it sees in your profile. So what those skills are that you've highlighted, what those experiences are that you have optimized. So here's an example of a posting. I just did a general search for trainer. A huge list of job postings came up. So this one says project manager, equity, training, and partnerships. It was posted by Toronto Metropolitan University, formerly Ryerson University in Toronto. And it shows me that I have 5 connections that work here. So this is super informative information. This is going to help me for a number of reasons. So I happen to know who these 5 connections are. I'm going to use the person on the far left. Her name is Camara Chambers. She and I met years and years ago when I first got into job development and employment services. She was working at Volunteer Toronto. She's now moved on, obviously, to do other things and is at TMU. So I could reach out to Camara and say, hey, I see this project manager, equity, training, and partnerships job. And I'm wondering if you can give me any insights about what I should highlight on my application. Are there particular skills and experiences above what I see on the job posting that you know that the university typically looks for in their candidates? And Camara would probably be willing to give me that information. I follow her and like her posts, and I know that she follows me because she's commented on my posts as well. So it wouldn't be a far cry for me to reach out to get that information. Maybe I want to get a sense of what the culture is at TMU. I've never worked in a university, so I could reach out to Camara and say, hey, can you tell me a little bit about kind of what it's like to work in a university environment, so I know what I could potentially be getting myself into. Or if I feel comfortable enough and I've been maintaining these networking connections, I can reach out to Camara and say, I'm going to apply for this job. Is there any way you could put in a good word for me with the hiring manager, or get my application directly to that person? So you want to be mindful as you're looking at job postings. Do you already know some of the people that are associated with the organization that have posted that particular job? That's going to be super helpful for you, and you can reach out. You can add that as a search criteria. So I just mentioned there's a variety of different criteria that you can search. At the bottom of your criteria list, you'll see on the screen there is a toggle for in your network. So if I turn that on, it's going to show me jobs that meet my keyword search, but also that were posted by companies that have employees that are part of my network. Automatically, I have what would be considered a warm lead in that company, and I can reach out to ask any or all of those questions that I just gave as an example. So think about for yourself, which companies or employers do you perhaps want to connect with? Don't be afraid to reach out directly to a recruiter or an employer on LinkedIn. Some job postings will actually list the person who posted the position. So you could consider applying for that job first and then sending a message to that recruiter or employer who posted the opportunity saying, you know, hey, I'd love to have a couple minutes of your time just to talk to you a little bit about my experience and the value that I know that I can bring to your organization. As with any self-marketing that we do when we're job searching, we're going to get some people who respond really positively and say yes. And then there are some people who are going to say no, and that's okay. And we move on until we get that yes. The other thing that you want to do is to identify and then follow some of your target companies. So this, again, could be based on industry. It could be based on type of job. It could be based on recommendations from people that you know. I randomly chose Apple. So when you search a company, very likely that company is going to be on LinkedIn. I see that Apple is a consumer electronics company in California. They've got 14 million followers on LinkedIn. And if I really didn't know anything about Apple, this is a great way for me to do some online research. You'll see a variety of different fields at the bottom. There's an about section, so I can go in and get a little bit more information about who this company is. They've got posts. So anything that the company representatives have posted, that could give me great insight into what the culture is like there. What is the day-to-day like? What is the job like? I've got a job section that I see there. So many companies, as I mentioned, will post their jobs directly on the platform. Some companies, some governments, for example, or regional municipalities may, when you go to the job section, redirect you back to their website. So you want to be aware that that is something that may happen, and that's completely legitimate. Then we see a section that says life. Again, this is a great opportunity for you to do some research. What do you see in their newsletters? Lots of companies post videos, and that can give you a sense of what life could really be like at that particular company if you're considering applying for a job and working there. And then you see a list of people. All of this could be helpful as you are researching companies that you may want to work for. When you get the opportunity for an interview, you now know a little bit more about them. This has been part of your research. Maybe you've looked up a couple of the people that you know are going to interview you, and you've got a little bit of information about their work experience and skills, and something to start off that conversation with. Andrew talked earlier about the Hire a Veteran group. So you want to consider joining groups or associations as part of maximizing your activities on the LinkedIn platform. Being part of a group or industry association is a great way to network, as Andrew mentioned. That group could have regular meetings or events. Andrew talked about some webinars that this particular group does. So you could be meeting virtually or in person with members of that group. It allows you to be able to participate in conversations within that group, respond to questions, help other people, create a positive impression of who you are, and it helps you to organically start building that network with some like-minded individuals, particularly if you don't already have a huge connection within the civilian labor market. You can also look at jobs that are posted within those groups. So I'm a member of a number of groups and associations, and I see quite regularly that members will just post in that group that they have an open job opportunity, or they know about an open job opportunity, and that doesn't get posted on the job section of the platform. So again, lots of jobs aren't necessarily posted online. Sometimes they're going to come from who you know and who is willing to recommend you for a particular job. So here's some examples that I found. And again, right here in the group. So it says looking for a network engineer who has at least 5 years of experience working in a similar role on military command and control software systems. Another one says, do you or someone you know have experience as an instructor for the CAF? And we see the one at the bottom, we're hiring vice president engineering, and that was posted in that Hire a Veteran group. So on top of going to the job search section of the platform, you want to ensure that you are connecting to some groups and associations, either that you know are friendly to veterans, that have recruiters and employers that specifically want to hire veterans, or again, think about what some of your new career goals are and connecting to some like-minded people that way. There are also other types of educational groups. So we see here a college that is supporting exiting military members and military spouses with free courses. So on top of upskilling through LinkedIn Learning, lots of different organizations have opportunities that you could take part in. We encourage you to ask your network for help. There's no point in gathering your network and then not having regular communication with them or letting them know what some of your goals are for your new career. There are a large number of jobs that are not posted anywhere. They are going to come. You're going to find out about those through your networking efforts. You can ask your network for advice. Especially if you're transitioning into being part of the civilian labor market, perhaps doing some informational interviews where you take, 10 or 15 minutes of someone's time and get a sense of what it's like in their particular industry, what it's like in their particular company. What is the employer looking for in terms of skills and experiences so that you're now armed with that new information. Find ways to connect one-on-one with the people in your network and offer to help other people. We forget sometimes that we have lots of experiences and skills to share. Networking isn't just about what other people can do for you. You also have lots of value to share with others. And people are more willing to help if they think that you're not going to be using them simply for your own personal gain. And then lastly, you want to make sure that you make it easy for employers to find you. So once you've maximized that profile, you've gone in, you've made sure that all these different fields that we talked about have all the information that you think best represents who you are as a professional looking to get into perhaps a new industry or what you want your brand to be, you can now use that link for your profile, your LinkedIn profile URL, on your self-marketing documents. So on your resume, for example, if I was searching for a job tomorrow, the top of my resume has the header. That's where you're going to find contact information for who you are, who's applying to the job. I could put the link for my LinkedIn profile. So when I send off my job application online, the employer or the recruiter clicks that link. It's going to take them automatically to my LinkedIn profile online, and they get to see all the awesome things that I have posted about myself that support that job application that I sent in. I realize that we're going to, I think, stop for questions a little bit later. So I'm going to, Ellen, is it okay for me to go on to the second part of my presentation?
Yeah, absolutely. Jacqueline, we are taking questions. I'm making notes, have some questions of my own. Don't worry, we'll come back to it. Feel free to continue.
Okay, awesome, good. Okay, so I am going to share my screen again. And I'm going to take you to the LinkedIn feed. Okay. So Ellen, maybe you can just confirm that you can see my LinkedIn feed.
Absolutely. Your screen is looking good.
Okay, awesome, good. Okay, so when you first log in, you are going to be on what's called your homepage or your feed, and you're going to see lots of different information. You're going to see information about yourself on the left-hand side, and then you're going to see everything that everyone else that you're connected to or maybe not connected to posted today. So, oh, look, it says we are hiring. So RMHC Toronto is a remarkable nonprofit organization, and it looks like they're hiring, and they've got 4 important positions to fill. So maybe if I was interested in one of these positions, or I know someone who is interested in this position, then I could pass on the names to Stephanie or ask Stephanie to connect with someone in my network who I think has the skills and experiences. So right off the bat, I've just gone in and I see some jobs that are posted there. Maybe I'm going through and I'm just looking at Eva is someone that I've done work with, and she now works at Victim Services of Durham Region. Maybe I read her post and I really like it and I want to go to one of those emojis that we talked about. I'm going to like it. Maybe she achieved something great at work and I can celebrate that, or any of these other emojis. And without my having to pick up the phone to call Eva, she's aware that I read her post and I know what's happening with her professionally today because I looked at her post. So this is just another way for you to stay connected with the people that you have as part of your network without necessarily having to connect with every single person, especially as you're growing your number of contacts. So we're going to go look at those profile sections. A couple different ways you can do that. You can click on your name. I just like to go here to the top right and go to where it says view profile. And this is going to take you to your profile page when you're signed in as yourself. So you'll see what I mentioned before about where your picture is going to go, the background that you choose, your name, and the headline that you have chosen underneath. And you'll see as you're going through the different sections of your profile, there is a little pencil icon there. If I click on that pencil icon, it's going to open up that particular area of my profile, and I'm able to go in and then modify or edit what actually appears there. So let's go to the About section, because that was one of the areas we said that you really wanted to maximize, and particularly be using keywords that you know that employers and recruiters are looking for in the particular jobs or in the particular industry that you're now looking to get into. So I've just written some general information about myself here, but I've thrown in some of the keywords for the work that I do. So client service, training and development, coaching, mentoring. I create workshops, lots of different things. So again, if I was job searching tomorrow and an employer was looking for some of those particular skills, I'm going to come up in those searches. And you also have the opportunity, as you are editing this area, to highlight the particular skills that you want to be known for. So I've chosen what some of my top skills are: leadership, coaching, career development, training, and communication. And you can certainly do that for yourself. So again, this could require a little bit of research as you're getting to understand more about the civilian labor market and what some of those transferable skills are that you have, that you want to demonstrate in your profile to show value. You want to make sure that you're writing about that in your About section. Underneath that, I talked before about experience. And so this is going to be a recap of the work that you have previously done. Again, I'm just going to expand this. You'll see that this is certainly not what would appear on my resume if I was applying for a job tomorrow. So you don't have to copy word for word what's on your resume and put it into your LinkedIn profile. You could end up with a profile that's like pages and pages long, which is not necessarily what you want. You want to just have a synopsis of what it is that you've done in the past. Again, throwing in some of the particular keywords and keyword phrases for the skills that you want to highlight that show value to the civilian employers that you're applying for. You can highlight the particular skills that you used in that job experience so that employers and recruiters are aware of what those skills are. And where you can, you want to list an achievement. So when we do our resume workshop, we say that for every experience, so every past job that you have, you maybe want to have about 6 or so points under each. At least one of those should be an accomplishment or an achievement. So employers want to get a sense of what you've done before. You're going to explain what some of your tasks and responsibilities were, but you want to at least have one statement that outlines for them what was the outcome of that. If I'm really focusing on leadership, what was the outcome of my ability to lead my unit well or lead my team well, so that you're painting a mental picture for the employer of what you could potentially do for them if they called you for that interview and hired you. One of the other things I love about LinkedIn is that you can add in some pictures and videos if you have anything that could be a demonstration of the skills that you are claiming that you have. So think about the work that you've done, and do you have anything like that that you could add in? And that just helps to reinforce some of the claims that you're making about yourself. So you'll see I just listed here my prior jobs. We don't have to obviously go through all of that. You're going to put any education that you have If the organization where you got that education is on LinkedIn, as you are entering in the name of the institution, you will see their logo come up. So for example, York University is on LinkedIn. I see their logo, same with Seneca College. Stephanie and Natasha talked before about this area, licenses and certifications. I also am a big fan of LinkedIn Learning, so I'm on there quite a bit, upskilling and taking different courses. The last one that I did was last month, creating a culture of learning. As they mentioned, after you're finished that course, you have the opportunity of now posting that credential or that certificate to your profile. So a recruiter or an employer who's taking a look will see that you're actually upskilling. We'll see some of the skills that you are gaining that could be valuable to them if they're considering you for a job opportunity. And then I have a list of other licenses and certifications that are there. Think about any volunteer work that maybe you're doing, right? Sometimes we think, volunteering is counterproductive. I'm looking for a job. You never know. It's another form of networking. Who could you be meeting in that volunteer endeavor? Who could know about some open job opportunities that you would be a great fit for? So if you are involved in volunteering, that could be something that you put on your profile, again, highlighting the particular skills, using those keywords that you know that those civilian employers and recruiters are going to be looking for. I talked about the skills section earlier. So again, you can hit that little pencil icon. There is a huge list of skills that you could choose from. You want to choose the skills that are most representative of who you are and the value that you have to offer as a professional. You can choose also to reorder the skills. So I wanted leadership to show up first and workshop facilitation to show up. Those are huge elements of the work that I do every day. And then you can see what I talked about before is getting individuals on the platform to then endorse that skill. So I'm going to open this. Hopefully you can see it. So I've had a number of people endorse me for this skill of leadership. So they are essentially saying, other professionals, yes, we know that Jacqueline has leadership skills. Either they've hired me for my leadership abilities, they've worked with me and seen me demonstrate my leadership abilities. So this is something that you could be doing to maximize your profile as well. And then think about some of the skills that, depending upon the particular type of career you're now looking to get into, would be high on the list of skills that those civilian employers are looking for. Recommendations. So I talked about this area. This is that social proof. It's not just me as a job applicant saying that I know how to do these great things. There are other professionals who have worked with me or hired me who, in their words, I'm not telling them what to write, are also saying, yes, I've seen Jacqueline do this thing. I worked with her on this project. She helped my clients to do these particular things. Employers and recruiters who are looking at your profile will then be able to go to this recommendations section and see what other individuals who've worked with you before actually have to say about their experiences. So this is a great opportunity if you have a profile and you're not using this section. Highly encourage you to use those skills section and as well as the recommendations. And then in the bottom, we've just got some interests. So I'm going to go to jobs. And when you get to jobs, again, if your profile has been maximized and you filled in the majority of the fields that we talked about earlier, it's fairly intuitive. So it's automatically going to start suggesting some jobs for you based on what it sees on your profile. So you see a lot of these suggestions are leadership development, training. This is what I do. It's a lot of the keywords that are on my profile right now. So it may make sense if I was looking for a job tomorrow that I look at some of these opportunities. I am going to do a search for, I think I had a group here, Transport Canada, I think is one of them I looked up. Transport Canada. Okay, I did a random search for Transport Canada. You can search by job title. You could search by company to see, I'm interested in a particular company. I want to see what the jobs they've posted. I did a general search in Canada. You can focus your particular search to a particular geographic area. So I think there was something I saw in here earlier that I wanted to look at. There's a compensation advisor trainee job, regional railway inspector, regional architect job. So if I was interested in any of these positions, I'm going to click on it. It's going to tell me about the salary, how many people work there, the type of organization it is. It's going to tell me a little bit about the work environment, what some of the duties are, and any particular accommodations, and what that company is looking for specifically in terms of the skills and experiences that are relevant. I think I'm going to look for one other. Civil aviation. So let's say I was interested in civil aviation, then I could do that search. It's going to tell me some jobs that fall under that civil aviation, maybe an aircraft coordinator or something else. I'm simply going to click on that, and I'm going to read on the right-hand side what that specific job description is. I can choose to apply right now if I wanted to, or I could save the job. Maybe I'm not planning on applying to jobs today. I can save that and come back to my saved jobs later once I have modified my resume to meet the particular criteria of that job. Some companies you'll see have a little blue button that says apply. There's a box and an arrow that takes you off the site. It means if I wanted to apply for this particular job with Bombardier and I click apply, it's going to take me off the LinkedIn site. So you want to be aware that's completely legitimate. I would go onto the Bombardier site. I would put in my application for this particular job. So as with many job portals, you're going to see some different search criteria that you can change around. If you want to look for jobs, it defaults to any time. Maybe I just want to look at the hot jobs. So those are jobs that were just posted in the last 24 hours. Probably not a lot of other people necessarily have seen those. Maybe I'm looking for jobs with a particular experience level. I'm more mid-senior, or I'm more of a director level. Maybe you have a particular salary range in mind, so you could certainly select that and it would show you the results. You can select the company. We recommend that you keep that blank because we don't know every company that exists on LinkedIn, and there may be a job that completely matches your skills and experiences and something that you would be quite interested in, but because you're not aware of the company and didn't put it in your search, then it doesn't come up on the results. As you can imagine, during COVID, remote work and hybrid became more popular, and lots of on-site opportunities. And then easy apply means if I click easy apply, it's just going to show me jobs that allow me to apply from the LinkedIn website, versus the ones that have the apply with the arrow leading off, which means I'm going to go to an external site to actually apply for that particular job. So I have covered each of the areas that we talked about in the profile, what you want to be able to set up specifically, so which fields you want to maximize and highlight. I looked at the jobs section. If you want to search for a person, you just go back to home, you go into the search area and you search for the name of the person. I'm going to do a random search for someone named Karen. It's going to show me all the Karens that are coming up. It shows me the Karens that I first have a direct connection to. Those are first degree connections, and then second degree connections, and so on. If I'm looking for a particular company, again, I'll use Aviation Canada. Canada Aviation Academy. If I'm looking for this particular company, I can click on them, read about them. They're in Abbotsford, BC, decide if I want to follow them, look at their posts, find out about their people. So you can use this for your own research to find people that maybe you haven't been connected to in a while and would now want to connect with on the website. Find organizations or companies that you want to find out a little bit more about, do some research before you apply. You can also search for groups. So the Hire a Veteran group or any other interest group that is either professionally or personally relevant to you. I hope that's helpful. I'm going to stop sharing. And I don't know if we have the opportunity to go through some questions now. If anyone has any, I'm certainly willing to answer what I can.
Hi, Jacqueline. Yeah, so we can, do you have any more presentations?
I'm good. I think I've shown everything.
Amazing. Honestly, that was very informative. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome.
Yeah. LinkedIn is a phenomenal resource. I'm always telling candidates to get involved. The networking, the translation of your skills, all of that. So it was really cool to see you go step by step through that.
Yeah.
We do have a couple questions from candidates.
Okay.
Let me just pull it up here. All right. So the first question was actually for me. Is there a cost for the LinkedIn learning courses? The Career Transition Services team, so that's our section of Agilic, on behalf of Veterans Affairs Canada, we offer our clients access to LinkedIn Learning free of charge. If you're not accessing the Career Transition Services and would like to explore your eligibility, please reach out to Veterans Affairs Canada through veterans.gc.ca, searching Careers and Transition Services to learn more about the services we provide and how to apply. We will provide the link to this website in our Q&A document that'll follow up after this presentation. And if you aren't accessing CTS services and you don't intend to, you may be able to find a 30-day free trial to LinkedIn Learning via LinkedIn. But again, that'll be a different avenue for you to explore. But if you are a candidate currently working with us, with a career coach, and you'd like to gain access, please reach out to your coach and they'll gladly set you up with that. Yeah, awesome. Okay, thanks for wading through that there, Jacqueline. Okay. So the first question, and please tell me if you're not able to answer this, but
Sure.
If I currently have a profile with LinkedIn that I had signed up with under an email account with my current employer, is there a way to change it to my personal email?
I believe there is. When you are in your profile, there's some, I'm going to go in here now so I can see where it is. Like there's a settings and privacy area. I imagine that in your settings area, you're able to go in and maybe add a secondary email or change the existing email. I know that I have my email information there. So that's where I would suggest that person could go into their settings in their account profile.
Awesome. And I will say there is an option to verify your LinkedIn account. So you get that little thing there. I've done that with a different email than the email I signed up with. So that might be another way to get that onto your account.
Love it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And also for the person who asked that question, feel free to throw anything else in there if you need us to clarify anything, and we'll get back around to it. Okay. And Jacqueline, next question. Can you provide an explanation of how to set up notifications and privacy settings? So a little bit of overlap.
Yeah, so if you go into your profile and then go to settings and there's some different areas there. So you can do visibility, data privacy. So I, for example, don't want everyone to have access to all the information on my profile. So there's a couple different things that I've done. I limit what's on my public profile, so it doesn't have all the details about me on my public profile, which means if someone is not connected to me and they search for me and they're not on the LinkedIn platform, when they find me, they're just going to see what I would call like some tombstone data. Right? So that's one of the ways for you to kind of limit from a privacy perspective. And then in your account preferences, you can set visibility, who can see that you're on, who can see what information about you. Is it only your first degree connections? Is it everyone on the platform? Who can access, for example, can they find me using my email address or some other thing? So I have some of those privacy settings set up on my account. So I know you're able to do that in settings and visibility and privacy data. I think it's called data privacy, maybe.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then we have one more here. Sorry, just getting the clarification on the wording of this. But do you have any tips or tricks for people who are, again, privacy conscious? They don't want to make a mistake by reaching out to the wrong person to help validate an employer or a job posting?
Yeah. So unfortunately, there are some online scams. LinkedIn tends to have a good reputation with employers and the posts that appear there. If something feels uncomfortable for you or too good to be true to you, then check in with someone else that you trust and get them to take a look at the posting. You certainly don't want to share any of your personal or private identifying information with any employer. So an example of that could be my social insurance number or, any other, like you don't have to put your home address on a resume these days, these types of things, because someone may be able to find you if you don't want them to. So there are some of those privacy things, did a random employer reach out to me on the LinkedIn platform and they're claiming they looked at my profile and they want to hire me for a job, and for me to do it I need to send them my banking information and all that stuff. That's probably not legitimate. So if they're asking for your personal information before you meet them and have an interview, or they say they're going to hire you and you sign a contract, then you want to be wary of that. The only time you need to share any of that personal data with a prospective employer is when you know that you have the job, you're signing a contract, and they are now creating an employee file for you. And again, in terms of what you're sharing on the platform, you do have some of those settings, those privacy settings that you're able to go in and decide what people can see and not see, or who sees it.
Absolutely. Thank you. That was a great answer. And if I can also add to, I know that you can sometimes access people's contact information on LinkedIn. You go to their profile and you can do that. If the domain name doesn't seem like a real domain name, or it seems really close, but kind of off, that could also be a red flag. Be sure to ask your friends, maybe your current colleagues, anyone that you trust if you're really uncertain. But I agree, Jacqueline, if anyone's asking you for information that you wouldn't give them unless you were signing a contract with HR, then I definitely, I would be hesitant about that. No, that's great. So I think that is it for the questions from candidates, but if you're okay with it, I have a couple questions for you.
Okay, sure.
Awesome. This is a little bit of a challenging one because you've covered so much today with so much useful information, but if you wanted people to take away just one or two things from what you've gone over today, and it could be like a theme or something, what would those be and why?
Wow.
So
that is tough.
You on the spot.
A theme. A theme. I think the theme across LinkedIn is a social media, it's a professional social media platform. Sure. You get to control, to some extent, what you are sharing on your profile about yourself, whether it's your work history or any other private information that you choose to. You want to think about, before you start creating that profile, what is the professional brand that I want to create? right?
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that my actions and what I add to my profile, my comments that I share, that all of that stuff lines up with that professional brand that I am trying to create. I think that's one of the themes. And networking can feel icky for a lot of people, right? I'm an introvert, which some people find weird. I'm an introvert, so I don't like big networking off things with like hundreds of people in the room, and that's not my bag, right? One of the things I like is that you have the opportunity to reach out online, have conversation, maybe just comment. I have been able to start kind of meaningful professional relationships with people that I just met on LinkedIn, like really just met them on LinkedIn.
Very cool.
Yeah, so there is great networking opportunity. It's also a great way to do research. So if that's one of the themes, you can use it for research. So I've been a career transitioner. In my career, I've moved, I think I've transitioned maybe 3 times now to different industries or types of work. And I've used the platform to reach out to people in the new industry that I was considering and saying, hey, could you spare me 10 minutes of your time to have a conversation with me about this? I'm trying to figure out what the employment services industry is because I worked in the private sector, but I want to do something a little bit more meaningful. Like, what does the everyday look like? And again, as I said before, some people will say no, and that's okay. And some people will say yes. There are lots of people who want to share what they know with you, and they want you to be successful, whether they know you directly or not. And then find a way to give back. That's one of the other things, right? Find a way to give back. Do you have information that could be helpful to someone else who's going through their own transition?
That's awesome, and I think the last part there too. I think as veterans, as service members, as family members, one of the big barriers that's faced is having a limited network. And I think whoever you're inviting into that, I think Andrew touched on that during his presentation as well. Whoever you invite into that, whoever you help, you're just building connections. You're helping other people. You're strengthening the community, and you're just opening up opportunities, not just for yourself but others. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree. One of the things we really focus on with candidates is networking. I'm on there. If you've had the pleasure of working with me in the past, or maybe you want to work with me in the future, that's great. I will definitely go over networking on LinkedIn. I agree, it's awesome. I don't know if you've come across any bad examples, but I think for the most part, it's a very positive experience. People are generally very excited to share, and yeah.
Yeah, I've had lots of positive experiences. There are people who are using it maybe not the way it's intended, who will just try to connect with you, and then the next message is, hey, can you buy my program for $500? Like, no, what? You just met me. So you want to be mindful of those things, but you're right. For the most part, people have good intentions.
Absolutely.
And you don't have to accept every connection request that you get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I've in this, I'm reaching out to employers. I've definitely had it where I've tried to connect, and it wasn't until after we connected via another way that they agreed to that connection. So you get to set your own boundaries, and I think that's a really cool thing. Maybe even for introverts, you're like, no, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm not seeing any other questions coming up on our feed.
Okay.
I will highlight that this is going to remain open for you to submit questions. We will be accepting questions for a little while longer. I see some typing on my questions feed. But yeah, please feel free to go ahead, submit that. We will be reposting this in the next couple of days just so you can see that. And feel free to access any of this content again. I know Jacqueline went over some amazing stuff, so that's going to be really exciting. I know I'm probably going to go through it again at some point.
Yeah, good. I'm glad it was helpful. Hope
Absolutely.
It, so, yeah.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline.
Okay, thank you.
Have a great day.
You too. Take care.
All right, thank you, everyone. And that concludes the day.
Merci tout le monde pour nous joindre aujourd'hui. Encore une fois, nous allons télécharger un enregistrement de cet webinaire sur le portail. Vous pouvez aussi l'accéder ici dans le portail de Feedloop. Nous allons collecter les questions-réponses pour les prochaines 24 heures. So, si vous avez des questions, vous pouvez les soumettre et nous allons fournir un document avec toutes les questions et réponses pour vos informations. Merci beaucoup encore de nous joindre aujourd'hui. Passe une très belle journée.